Please try again in 30. Oh my God. Hello and welcome to the Amusing Panda live stream, your musing and amusing source for all things War Machine. I am Alex Cosma, and I am joined by returning guest Geoff Zak.
Hello.
Hey Jeff, how you doing?
Doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing good. For those who were not on your last stream, can you give a quick introduction to yourself and who you are in the game and the community?
I'm Geoff Zak. I play this game, apparently.
Sometimes.
Starting to get back into it. I've been around for quite a while. Is he Jeff or is he Zach? I'm both. I am Jeff and Zach.
The lucky rare distinction.
Or you can call me Geoff because it's with a G, because I'm weird. But yeah, used to make widgets and trays and stuff and play quite a bit, and got to go to WTC last year. Not going this year. Trying to go next year.
Yeah, well, your widgets and trays. We still have to. Oh, we got a Zero Deviation fan in the chat.
What?
We gotta.
Wow, I am impressed.
We gotta have that much delayed discussion about redesigning the tray kit for Mark IV, because those things are fire, and I don't have mine to hand right now, but I get asked about them all the time, and I keep sending people your way.
I'm thinking about redesign of that tray, trying to get enough widgets to make like the multi-tiered design really worth it with Mark IV, and I think it's there. And everybody needs, or at least by everybody I mean myself, needs better organization when it comes to all your tokens and everything. So like having a good spot for that where you can quickly access. And my biggest problem with the game before I had health issues was just getting to the table, getting organized, getting my models out and getting going. So getting organized is part of like getting your widgets and everything, or your tokens and everything just exactly where you need them. So it's not a load on your brain. I'm curious, Vulgaris, I did run Zero Deviation designs. Just impressed you knew that.
Yeah, we got
my laser cutter has been running all day, making matchup things for the WTC players this year. I wish I had a picture or one of them laying around, which I just mailed them out, so I don't. But they were cool looking little placards for doing matchups every round.
Yeah, that's a good segue into just saying that this is a slow news week. There is not a lot of new announcements in War Machine world, and the main thing. Oh, what's this? Because I begged you to make it for me when you started your doctrine.
Oh, no. I was just starting my bachelor's
degree. Put it toward your PhD. Yeah.
I was just starting my bachelor's at the time, which update on that. I did get my bachelor's degree in March of this year. I don't need a PhD. It's in business and I really don't want it. Nobody wants me to do that.
So. Yeah. Less people need PhDs than get them. I'll be real about that.
But I really want to push for Cosma, you to have like the professor on the back of your jersey.
Oh my God. Oh, it could that could very well be the next jersey thing. Yeah, on the jersey note, slow week for news. Not much coming out of War Machine HQ. So the main thing there is coming up is a lot of the USA players are departing for Sweden this week, and then next weekend we have the WTC. So I'm hoping we're going to do some content around the WTC and grabbing at least one of the games, but we haven't figured that out yet. Yeah. And then after that, we have Lock and Load coming up. Are you on the fence or not going to make it this year?
I'm not going to make it this year. I originally had a ticket to go, and things happened, and I would need to take my wife with me, and it's not going to play out.
Oh, that's sad. I'm gonna miss you there. Maybe what I'll do is get a petition going to redesign the tray.
Yeah,
I'm sure
but
we'll get lots of signers on that.
I really want to sit down and talk to you about it. Me and Corey Doyle have been discussing carrying cases and ways to get carrying cases that fit under the seat on an airplane, which to me is like the golden case, like
Yeah.
easy to carry and then just slide it under the seat. You don't even have to worry about like getting your position, getting on the plane push forward or anything. You just get on there and you know your models are safe and they're not going to get put under the plane. And right now I'm working on a kind of a crazy ratcheting pulley system type thing, which sounds crazy, and it is, but I think it's going to work.
Right. You know, one of the great things about Mark IV was the armies got smaller than they used to be. And like, you know, for the first 2 years, I was like, yeah, my Storm Legion fits in a super small bag. And then I switched to Brine Bloods, and now I have a king and a brig. And I'm like, oh my God, my army consumes more case space than ever before. This is almost unmanageable.
I feel like I'm playing like Mark III Scorn, because in my bag I have one Phantasm, potentially two Phantasms. And even when I have the two in there, if I'm playing Helith Moraine, I also have a Sky Raider. So there's just not enough room in the way that I've designed my cases. So I need to fit probably two 120s. 3 is really pushing it. I'm glad OU isn't getting a 120 for a while.
Maybe that's the next frontier for zero deviation. You guys barnstorm not just with the trays, but with transport solutions.
That was kind of always the plan, because I've been in this constant state of designing a transport solution in my head for quite a while. But obviously I went down the widget path and made some really cool things. I feel like the designs, oh, I can't believe I'm going to say design space. I feel like the design space for widgets in Mark IV, it has been like all of the necessary widgets kind of exist. So there's things that will make play faster, like with the 120s, the 120 movement widget.
Yep. Yeah, those are really
in your underwear and your luggage. Yes, that's a great idea. Last year coming home from WTC, one of my teammates gave me all of his models in this like plastic shell thing with foam in it, and I ended up having to check it. And he's like, "It's fine. There's just my infernals. Check it." And it made it all the way to Portland, Oregon from Amsterdam, perfectly fine, coming out from being checked baggage. So it is possible.
That was Jake's infernals last year.
Exactly. Like two of the Colossals and Amadeus, which his Amadeus was constantly breaking. So
nonstop. Yeah, the year before that, or no, I forget when it was. One of the years when I went with Matt Zealous, I transported his army back for him. And I have when an event's over, I have a very blasé attitude toward my own models. Like, screw it, I don't need these anymore. So I checked my own bag and overheaded his just to make sure it got home safe.
Good call.
Yeah. But let's see. Actually, something real quick for the chat. If you guys have something you've been dying for in a play widget that you want in an all-in-one solution, throw those ideas at us, and we'll see where that gets us over the course of the show.
I used to do, back when I did zero deviation, if you give me an idea for a widget and end up incorporating, I will make you a bunch of them. So, yeah.
Yeah, you got me those. They turned out to be not the most practical thing in the universe, or kind of rare to use. But those true spray widgets, they are really great for getting ultra precise sprays. But they take a lot of time to use, so they're almost more a judge tool than anything else.
I don't even remember that actually.
Oh, it was the fitted bases. So here's like a rule technical problem that not a lot of people think about a lot is center to center measurements are actually not uncommon in War Machine, but they're harder to get than you would expect. Um, because just eyeballing center to center with a laser is like a rough approximation, but when it when it really matters and it really needs to be straight, it's harder than you would think. So like I used to play a lot of Gorton with bashers. Slams are center to center movements, and getting your slam vectors precisely correct, especially when you're energizing to set up least disturbance or clip a certain model or whatever, um, it can be challenging to do. So actually what a center to center measurement is parallel to an edge to edge measurement of models that are the same size. So actually what you want to do, and one of the things, Geoff, that you made was ringed proxy bases. So you could like, what I had to do, because I was slamming with like 50 mil models, my opponent's like, oh, how do we figure out the slam vector? I'm like, okay, let's put this ring around your 40 mil jack. Then, we'll take the parallel. That's the line. And we can measure exactly across that edge to edge when our models are the same size.
I forgot that. Yeah. I do kind of miss my ring proxy bases over just having like a 50 mil like token.
Mm-hmm.
And the what's kind of funny is the deployment. I was thinking about that this morning, like making the tray 6 inches wide, so it would take up the first player deployment, but then having like a slider that would kick out the 3 inches and the slider that would kick out the 5 inches, and like have the sticks almost like in this slider configuration, because pulling the sticks out can sometimes be a pain. Like the tray I had the tray I have from last year from WTC, it's amazing. The art is really cool, but getting sticks in and out of it is a huge pain. So like almost having like this weird slider thing. I was thinking about that this morning, like how would I make that happen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's an interesting one.
It may or may not work, but I'm always going down these thought holes of design, and I used to like walk down the walking trails near my house and just like work on, okay, I'm making a widget, I'm making something to do this, or like designing a carrying case or whatever. Yeah. So I get lost in these thought loops quite a bit.
You go out, touch grass, and immediately start rotating shapes in your mind.
Exactly. Like the whiteboard thing that you posted there, the 6-inch whiteboard, it's a great idea. And it's so easy to do with the laser cutter, because you can just buy the whiteboard stuff like at Home Depot, cut it down, and then you can cut down whatever size. Can't believe I never did that for like CPs and whatnot for gamekeeping.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which the first Dragon's Fury we ran it, I was going to say down here in Portland, which was our 5-person, or no, sorry, before we did the 5-person team stuff, there was just the Warfare Weekend qualifier. I put on all the tables like turn number, CP for each side and whatnot, because not everybody has a widget or like something left over from WTC or something that someone gave them to actually keep track. And to have that on all the tables and to have the table number along with that just made, it made the flow a lot quicker for getting people set up. And we had to go fast that year. I'm pretty sure you were there, but we started at like 5 a.m. and we got done at midnight.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, that's a grueling schedule.
It was rough. It was bad. Thankfully, they had a bar and food inside of the area we were playing.
Oh wait, yeah, this was the one where it was in the hotel in downtown Portland, right?
Yeah, like a historic building hotel. Yeah.
Yeah, I was there for that one. I do remember this.
Okay.
I was trying out a Kador pair as a potential option for the WTC. I was running Zerkova and Butcher 5 Doom Reavers. And then I got very, very drunk toward the end of that tournament.
A lot of people did. That was like the year of Iona, and
like,
there were like 4 or 5 Iona players, and they all had the same lists.
Even after getting spanked by Brandon that whole year, like where the metagame was, I was super grateful to be playing Scorn that year. Oh man. But on the note of widgets and stuff, because widgets are great because they're, fantastic tools for clean play. What we have you on to talk about this week is raising up new players and how to bring them into this culture of War Machine that we all really enjoy, and bring them into playing clean games and high quality games, like raising them up from, baby's first battle box games to, weeknight regular to competitor.
Yeah.
And that really starts early in the career.
It really does. And so part of this is I had some health issues that have really knocked me on my butt. And I'm in a situation now where I'm basically a new player and a little frustrated with some of the ways of which I'm experiencing effectively being a new player again. And I talked with you a little bit about this before, and what I would like to see, or thinking on the way that I would introduce a new player to the game before, which is more kind of falling back on my experience of other players who were very kind to me and very, I don't know the right word here, but
nurturing, perhaps.
Nurturing, that is great. Like, and thinking on what type of game is the best game for someone to grow, whether like people come into this game with expectation of, I'm going to play the game for this reason. Maybe it's just, I'm getting away from 40K for a minute and I'm going to play this and see how it goes. And I'm sure there are other reasons, but the majority of the people I run into are former Magic players and former 40K players. And it's all like, how can we give that person the best experience to introduce them to our community, to introduce them to the game, and get them excited to continue to play the game and get them going as a player. And what I mean by that is going is like, they understand the rules, they understand what's going on, but also if they want to grow, if they want to get into the competitive scene, if they want to go to the local steamroller or whatever, there's a lot of steps that I used to take to go through when I'm playing these people to give them the best experience I possibly could. For me, a lot of it started with a pregame conversation about, what are you playing? What am I playing? I know, like, I used to play a lot, so I knew a lot of what was going on. I knew a lot of their rules. So if somebody would net deck a list and bring it in to kind of learn how to play, or if they just threw together the models they had or the models someone had given them, it's able to kind of go through that model or go through the models they had and say, oh, I see you're doing this. You have this caster. That's great. He does this, this, and this. His strengths are here. Here's the list I'm playing. This list is designed to do ABC. Hopefully it's not like a high competitive list that just shuts things off. But here's what my list is kind of doing. Here's what your list can do into it. And almost go, there were times where I would go model by model and be like, okay, watch out for this, watch out for this. And as the game progressed, typically I am saying, in fact, I got in a little bit of trouble with my WTC captain last year because I had a constant need to do this, which was, he asked me to stop telling people how to beat me. So I had to get over that, apparently. But and that's just something I do. If I saw something happen on the table, I'd be like, okay, so if you move there, I'm going to be able to do this and kill your caster. How about, would you like to take that back or move him into a different position? Or, oh, by the way, during your turn, if you come over here, you're going to outscore me in this scenario, or you're going to get this vector on like for a slam or whatever to knock me down. And yes, convince newbies that sticks are better than tape measures. I hate tape measures with a passion.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure that's a huge surprise to everybody.
Yeah. I think, how do you do it? You show it to them a couple of times. And then when they're struggling to figure something out, you just start handing them your sticks. They will be 100% convinced very quickly.
Maybe luckily, maybe not. I have hundreds of sticks laying around from when I ran the business. Like maybe not hundreds, but probably not far off. And they're all in a Tupperware container at my local game store. So when we have a new player come in, we're like, okay, here's your setup. Here's your new sticks. Here's your like round tracker. Here's everything that you're going to need to play this game. Here's some proxies, whatever. And so we have like kind of a newbie pack, which I understand not every meta has that, not every community has that, but it's a good way to get them going with like Oklahoma widgets or everything.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've seen personally is once people start using sticks or they watch you use sticks for your measurements, I mean, especially 40K players, they're going to be extremely annoyed with, the yo-yo measurement tape measure thing. Like, oh, my guy's whatever. Oh, that's about right. I'm sure we've all played against that. It's not the best experience, but just be like, oh, here's a stick, or here's what you can do with the sticks in a proxy base.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's something like this sort of touches on the why. War Machine has a bunch of very strong characteristics to its community and how people play, regard sportsmanship, regard competition. War Machine is, and I mean, who was I talking about this with? I think I was talking about it with, I don't remember. But War Machine is a very tactically deep game. And, for those of us who has stuck with it for a long time, we tend to find it immensely rewarding to play this extremely challenging strategic game.
Yeah.
And right now in our community, we have a culture of, we want to play the best game possible. We want to play a beautiful game of War Machine or something to that effect. Or we want to bring out the best in each other in this competitive environment. So we really value that the game is being played properly. And you're my opponent, like the rules say opponent for you, but you're my partner in making this game happen. That's a very rare thing among tabletop war games or most competitive sports. And in fact, it was virtually unheard of like 15 years ago anywhere else.
Yeah.
So, why does it matter how you bring up new players? And we also just have this great culture of sportsmanship too. War Machine's competitive scene, like, I advise people when you start traveling for competition, if you're flying or whatever, leave room for a comfortable dinner before your flight because you don't want to be rushing for a plane. And, like sitting down with the people that you just shared this hobby that you enjoyed and like having back and forths, talking strategy, discovering ideas and like making friends. That's a special thing too. Or like, some of my fondest memories of any local community I was in was when I was playing in Fremont in the San Francisco area. And we'd play 2 to 3 games of War Machine I think we played on Tuesday nights. And then we'd go out for beer and pizza until the place kicked us out.
Nice.
Those are treasured times for me. So this is all, and this doesn't happen by accident. Like if you've ever played Magic the Gathering seriously, or if you've ever played 40K seriously, that's not necessarily the norm in these other environments. What we have as a War Machine community is actually something pretty special. And, the way you bring your new people up and what you enculturate them in, what you show them this game is about and teach them to participate in, that's going to be the future of your community. And the people that they bring up are going to, see what they're giving them. And you better have given them the best, so they give it down to future generations. Plus, if somebody comes into this hobby and really likes it, like I've been playing this game for 22 years, like there's a decent shot that a new guy who shows up in your club with a battle box is going to be your friend for the next decade.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. Well, like for me, you might be sharing a car with me for 8-9 hours as we drive up to Bellingham once a month, and then 8-9 hours home. And I mean, if the person wants to go, it's going to happen, and it's great, And sometimes those 8-9 hour trips are all about War Machine. We talk like, oh, we're bringing these lists, and if I run into you, this is what I'm going to drop, or here's what I have that can counter that, or what do you expect the meta to be? Getting deep into random weird conversations of, oh, well, if I do this, maybe I'll stand a chance to actually like place pretty well in this event or whatever.
Yeah.
But then Cosmo's coming, so yeah.
Don't worry, he'll get fourth. He's been doing that all year.
Don't worry, Brandon will be there to knock him
out. Brandon will win. Oh man.
Yeah, but that's happened a lot. Like there's several times where I've thrown some newbies in my car and headed north. It's a lot of fun, and I really want to throw some newbies in my car and head down to San Francisco for like the NorCal Classic, but that's kind of a hike.
Yeah, what is it? It's like 10 hours?
Something like that. Me and my family did that a couple years back, and we drove home in one go, which was just insane. But yeah. Yeah, kind of to build on what you were talking about, getting players going. One of the best experiences is when not the best, but winning is fun, or winning a match is fun. Being constantly beaten down and losing a match, which used to be kind of the mantra of War Machine. Welcome to War Machine. You're going to lose 50 games in a row. That's not really uplifting or fun. And I'm not saying you have to purposefully lose to somebody, but you can help them by like these pregame chats and ask them afterwards, hey, would you like some advice on maybe what you could have done a little differently to apply your strategy better, or what strategy did you have here that not in like a condescending way, but to say, hey, it looked like you were going for this and that was a good idea, but maybe if we did it a little bit different, you would, like if you boosted this one attack roll, this would have happened. Things like that, and kind of get these people in a like build them up to get them a little more advanced in their tactics for War Machine, or understanding of their army a little bit better, so that they can win their next game, or they can beat you next time. Or even like apparently what I used to do a lot, help them beat you.
Right. Well, that's an excellent selfish motivation too, is I have encountered sometimes that competitive players will sometimes feel reticent about engaging with brand new newbies, or like, is this a good use of my time, or is this a good use of their time? There's a strong selfish motivation, which is steel sharpens steel. And if you build up your local crew, to be a bunch of hard asses, like all your practice is going to be quality. And that starts at the very, very beginning too.
So you were talking about going out to pizza and beer after your games in Fremont. When I first started playing in Oregon, we were playing at a store called Runenboard out in Hillsboro. And everyone there, it felt like we had a large proportion of the players there were tournament players, or people becoming tournament players. And like you said, steel sharpens steel. But when we get new players in, and kind of what I was talking about, talking people through the games and where this actually came from, of here's how to beat me, is something I learned from you, which is, know yourself, know your enemy. Knowing your opponent, knowing your opponent's army, knowing all of the armies is one of the key factors of being good at this game. knowledge. And if you can tell an opponent like what their army can do in order to beat you, you understand what their strengths are, and you might understand a little better what your weakness is. So you are actually making yourself better by helping them play and get better themselves and become more accomplished, and then they beat the crap out of you, and you're forced to get better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Let's start getting into the list here. Sorry, I'm rubbing my eyes so much. I am just like beat today. I was up till like 4 a.m. Yeah, so I split this out into some things to do and not to do. And Geoff, you were the inspiration for this discussion, because what was it, sometime last week you just texted me, like, essentially, because like you said, you're back in the new player seat.
Yeah.
And you texted me essentially a laundry list of not to do's from an opponent you had.
Yes.
And then
like,
we played yesterday on War Table, and we had a very interesting game. But I mean, stop me if I'm putting your words in your mouth, but it felt much more like the experience you were hoping for from your locals.
Oh, very, very much so. I mean, I'm playing one of my good friends, which always makes things better. I know what to expect, but there's kind of what we were actually just talking about, the engagement. What I was hoping for was more of an engagement from my opponents, like more of a, you've been out of the game for 9 months, like I'm playing new Crix or I'm playing Old Umbria or whatever, and here's kind of what this list does. And one of my biggest problems is remembering stats, remembering dice. Like I can't do dice math as quick as I used to be able to do, which is honestly very frustrating. But remembering my cards, remembering what I need to do, and having a strategy and having that play out. A lot of it goes into what we've been talking about, of how to have that friendly game, or what I would almost say, once that friendly game becomes what people would call a learning game, and it's all about, I'm learning what I'm doing, you're learning like what I can do, or you're learning what you're doing. And I kind of hate to say this because there's some truth to it and it's also false, but once you've gotten into the tournament scene or whatever, that level of learning game changes quite a bit, especially if you're like practicing for an event or trying to get some really good reps in. All of a sudden that learning game is like a deep strategy involvement conversation game. And that's kind of what I was hoping to have. And I felt like I definitely got that from you. And actually the person I played right after you as well, I had a great game. I got my butt kicked by Axis for like the first time in Mark IV, which, like, I haven't played against Convergence since Aaron Allen played Convergence.
Right.
And so, yeah, it was an interesting, like, oh yeah, Axis does this, and this is what this army actually does. So it was a really good learning game for me. And I think my opponent had fun, and we talked through a lot of like the strategy and the movements, and like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing here. And it helped me a lot because I'm a little slower, and well, now I'm a little slower. So getting back into the swing of things. And I consider myself a new player, but I'm also not a prototypical new player, because a new player typically has, well, they don't have the background or the knowledge somewhere in the back of their head of how to do this.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of like, especially when it comes to strategy, positioning, and things you're prioritizing. A lot of that stuff actually exists on almost like a pre-linguistic level for most people. Like, you just know how to do it even though you don't have words for it necessarily.
But like playing against you, I'm like, oh wait, strength armor. Here we go. Like before yeah, sorry, I'm going off the rails there.
Oh, all good.
It's just called rusty, not new. To a degree, yes. That when depending on the medication I'm on, I'm rusty. Sometimes I'm new. The crazy part about brain medication is it messes with your brain.
Yeah, imagine that. Oh man. Yeah, so you know, one of the things so one of the things you mentioned is very important to you is the pregame discussion.
Yeah.
What do you like to give in a pregame discussion, and what do you like to hear?
So I equate this to a conversation I had with Brent. Oh, I always get his name wrong, and he's going to rail me for that. Brett Simon at Boca Brawl in, I think, 2019. He was playing Aurora 2. I was playing King of Nothing, as is proper in 2019. And he puts his list down. We were paired up, obviously, and he's like, "Do you know what this does?" And to be honest, I should have, because I played Aranauan like a day or two before, and spoiler, he beat me the same way Brett beat me. But we went to the bar, we ordered some drinks, and he went through every single model on his list and went, "This is what this does. This is what this does. Here are the synergies, and here's what I'm going for with these synergies. And here's the core of the list. Here's what it does. Here's the strategy, the overall strategy of the list. I want to get you in these possible ways." And he was obviously, I'm sure he was going to WTC that year. He was obviously very practiced with that list and knew how to express, like, here's what's going to happen on the table. So here's what you need to expect. And I enjoyed that so much. I took it upon myself that if I, like, going forward, when I was playing new players, and later on I was playing King of Nothing, like practicing probably for NorCal or something up at Mox at an event, and I got placed or paired into someone who was very new, and the tournament organizer told me, "Do not just like beat him, be nice, he's very new." And so I'm like, "Okay, cool." And I was like, "Hey, here's my list." And I sat down with him and I went through every single model, and it's like, did the same thing Brett did for me. Like, here's the overall idea of what I'm doing. Here's why I do these certain things. Like, I'm going to move this model up, and then my caster is going to become that model, and then I'm going to kill your caster. That's kind of what this list does. And I went through it all and made sure he understood kind of what was going on. And then after that, the game started, and he moved his caster. I'm like, "Okay, clock it over to me or pause it. I don't care either way. I don't care if I clock. So that's just going to happen." It's like, "I'm going to tell you, if your caster stays where he's at, he's going to die. Please pull that move back, put your caster somewhere else, because that's within this thing that I told you all about that I could do, and that I was actually trying to do."
Mm-hmm.
And the player, to his credit, was like, "You know what? I'm going to leave my caster right there, and I want you to prove that you can do that." And so I did. And to be honest, that's kind of what Brett did to me. But yeah. Mm-hmm. And he learned how to fight Grimkin that day. But he appreciated it, and he enjoyed the game, and we talked about it a lot afterwards. It's nice. To me, it was nice. It was sportsman-y, or to me, it's sportsman-y to be like, "Hey, look, you made a boo-boo. Mm-hmm. Let me allow you to wipe your butt," or whatever. I have kids.
Mixing metaphors a bit. Oh man, yeah. That's interesting, because you have the next item I have on here is correct gently and actively guide new players. I had a very specific thing in mind, but that's actually a really great other specific thing I didn't have in mind. Is like, when they're making an obvious, catastrophic mistake, yeah, like walk them through it and say, like, let's figure out another way to go about this. Or sometimes their response is, I don't I don't believe you can do it. And then you demonstrate, and then you say, do you want to play again?
Yeah, exactly. Shall we re-rack?
Yeah. Yeah, but correcting gently can also apply to things like, especially depending on how new they are to the game or how rusty they are to the game. And this is like, how do you get players to use sticks and stuff like that? Like, if you've ever seen someone trying to use tape measures to measure melee range, you're like, oh no.
Well, so most everybody knows what parallax is.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can explain to somebody that sticks don't cause parallax, then that usually takes care of it right there.
Right.
Well, that's not necessarily true. I guess it depends on how you hold it, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but yeah, and there's a lot of like movements, like, because when you're learning the game, you're not just like learning combos and synergies, you're also learning like manual execution of how to move these game pieces across the board. And like they're trying to learn two things in their heads at once. Giving the use of the sticks helps cut down on all that. And like, like if you see somebody like bend a tape to get around like models and stuff, it's like, let me show you how we do this right. I'm gonna make it a lot easier on you.
That just triggered a memory in my head of somebody using a tailor's tape measure.
Oh yeah,
and going around a building is like, I mean, how do you handle that? Well, for me, I hand them a pile of steppers and say, those are yours now.
Yeah. Yeah, your models have volume. That's part of the rule. The steppers is me being gentle and saying, your models have volume. Do this right.
But yeah, steppers are wonderful. 80 mil steppers, especially for me, are wonderful because the 80 mil models just get in their own way so often.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the amount they're used, like last year, Big Pig is a great example, just in every single list everywhere.
Mm-hmm. I don't think the current widget set, it obviously doesn't have 80 steppers, but I don't think it has 120 steppers either.
So the two last ones I made had an 80 millimeter proxy. It had 80 millimeter blast widgets, which technically can still be used. There are some like 2 or 3 abilities that cause a 3-inch template, like Caustic Mist, I think, is one of them. And then
Feast of Worms or Carrion Feast too.
There
yeah.
You go. Or the old Witch's Gun.
Mm-hmm.
Black.
Which, like, I just wish they would make those new AoEs, by the way.
Yeah. You just sit. You're gonna have to tell me what color your set is, so that that's how I remembered people, is like what color they ordered.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some very unique ones out there. But where was I going with that? They had 80 millimeter steppers and 120 millimeter steppers in them as well.
Nice.
So yeah, I have a box right next to me here, just full of steppers and AoE rings and and proxy bases. And this is kind of what we use for. Here's your new player kit, black and purple. Okay. That's got to be a pretty one. Like there was a black and like or transparent purple one that I made. That I like that one quite a bit. I think I also made black and like a opaque purple one. Now there's some that are out there that I get to see that I'm like, oh yeah, I remember making that one. That one was a pain in the butt or whatever. Usually the ones that were the biggest pain were the wooden ones, like what you have.
Yeah.
Mostly because I had to use super glue to put them together rather than acrylic glue, which bonds like a plastic glue. It melts and bonds, so they stay together really well. Okay, I think I remember yours. Yes.
Yeah, the wooden ones, my sidecar has had a number of repairs that need to be made to it, because the material doesn't fuse, but I still love it anyways.
No, we need to like wood glue that thing and put some compression on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Remember talking to me at Boker Brawl last year? Played Retribution, you played Dusk. Oh, goodness. I remember at Boker Brawl talking to someone. Yes, I do remember playing you. I talked to someone who had one of the trays, and I was like, what I always do. Hey, I made that. And you actually mentioned that you had bought it like right before I stopped making stuff and to go to school. So yeah, I remember you. Hello.
Nice.
Hopefully I'll see you at Boker Brawl next year. Hopefully my brain heals up so I can do that. Last thing
When is
anyone wants
Boker
me
next
to
year? I
do
always forget.
is I don't want to have a seizure in New Jersey.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah.
Boker next year is probably April or May, I would
Okay.
assume.
Oh, that's not bad timing.
Let's see. Well, you have the SoCal now in April, or the Brandon event.
Oh, yeah, we have the Brandon event.
Trying to look up Boker Brawl.
Yeah, we're both doing Boker
May
Brawl
1st through 3rd next year.
Oh, okay, nice.
So everybody come to New Jersey May 1st through 3rd. It's, in my opinion, one of the best events of the year.
That's when it starts getting hot in Phoenix, so I might want to get out.
It always is hot in Phoenix.
No, it's paradisal right now. It's gonna be in like the 70s for the next 3-4 months.
That ain't bad.
Yeah. But yeah, okay, so correcting gently. Widgets are a great tool to correct gently. Often when you see mismeasurements or like people not doing things right, I don't know. You don't want to necessarily wrap their knuckles, but you want to be looking for the right way for things to be done and help them get there, and then help them get there every time. Let's see.
I want to bring one more thing up about widgets, and I'm sorry.
No, please.
We have these spanky new PCB board widgets or measuring sticks. And I've been thinking about these a lot and how to kind of
Sorry, I was trying to make you big on the screen.
Oh,
hold it up again.
And they are super, super thin. They're made out of PCB board. They're really cool. Show off some Bellingham.
Oh, yeah.
We gave them out last year as WTC. They're really cool. They're really lightweight. And the way I carry my set around right now is in a toothbrush, like a travel toothbrush case, which works, but you know.
Right. Very convenient for on the go.
Yeah. But pouring out my measuring sticks onto the table isn't that fun. But I think like if we could get a really cool design on these things going, that they're really neat. I don't know. That might be the future. I'm not quite there yet, but we'll see.
Yeah, that might be something because I have another game store that has like a new community next to me, and you know what I'd like to do is like ideally have an army and like set of basic set of sticks that just lives there. Have a set of sticks that just lives there, so that I can just go in straight after work and like pick up my grave diggers or something that I'm not like going hard in the paint on for competition, like brine bloods, and actually like be figuring it out with somebody and have an opportunity to experiment with new lists.
Well, I have a pile. I will throw in a box for you and ship it down to you, or the next time you're up here. Are you coming up for Cascade? Oh, that's in Vancouver.
Yeah, I'm going to be in Cascade. Yeah.
I won't be up there. Forgot it's in Canada.
Yep. You can't return to Canada.
Onto it. Oh, I've thought about that, like having one stick to rule them all. Is it possible? Definitely. With magnets, everything is possible. But that is something I'll have to think on. Like is it worth it to do like a wooden 18-inch stick and then like have like internal dowel system almost to, or I don't think I'd want to do like, those swords, or when I was a kid, they do the lightsabers, like you flick it and it would just go out.
Yeah, the ones that
Like
telescope out.
The telescope, that's the word. I don't know if a telescoping measurement stick is the way to go. Might be interesting to try with the PCB board ones, though.
Yeah. You. I will say, nowadays you don't want magnets in your play aids, because the models have magnets in them, and it gets messy fast.
I'm checking to see if these are magnetic, because that would be bad too.
Yeah. So this actually, this reminded me though of something I have in the not to do category, which is if you're playing against new players, except maybe if it's their first battle box, don't throw games. If somebody's on the journey up and learning to play, you can have your caster charge their heavy or their light and take it out and show how powerful casters are, and that can be a neat, fun narrative experience for somebody to have in like their first battle box game. But if you're throwing against a new player who's showing up to game night, even if it's small, it kind of does them a disservice.
Yeah.
So Geoff, you and I have had the experience of like, suddenly once you're on the circuit, all of your local games become training games, right?
Yeah.
Like you have a shift in attitude, and that's how they begin to occur for you, as this is an opportunity for me to practice for the big time. If you had people taking dives in your practice game, how would you feel about that?
It does no good. Like if I'm practicing, or if I'm sharpening my edge or whatever, throwing game does no one any good. Or if I throw a game, I don't know, like if I'm playing against a new player and I'm throwing the game as I'm like, practicing or whatever, it's not something I would really do, or not intentionally, but like I was talking about before, helping players beat me or whatever. That's not necessarily throwing the game so much as it's me expanding my knowledge of that faction or that ability. That's another thing though. Like not many people use slams or throws anymore, and there are medium-based models now with open fists that can throw, and maybe that would be a fun thing to play out with a new player. Or in my mind, like, yeah, okay, well, let's throw some models around, because that's a very unique to this game type of thing, and it's fun. Or like, hey, let's throw this barrel at me. Let's play some Donkey Kong.
Yeah. Not many people realize that Man of War controllers have open fists, and that enables them to do a lot of very silly things.
Or like light jacks can slam. Ridiculous.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean that used to be like ancient wisdom that was common in Mark II, is like often the best activation for your light jack is he runs up there and he throws out a slam.
Yeah. Nick, I just read what you said, and yeah, just what, I got a table set up. It's kind of like the old lock and load days where people would set up LFG signs on random tables and just sit down with their army out. Like, yeah, I turned into an online game thing. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, or even just practice deploying and unpacking your army around terrain and optimizing your turn one movements.
Building up to what you said, building up your own skills and building up your own, honing your own edge, if you will. War Table is so great for that. Like, here's my deployment. Here's like turn 1, turn 2. Or even, playing games in any of the War Table leagues, and there's quite a few of them out there now. It's not tabletop experience, and I'm not going to sit here and try and tell people it is, but it's an experience, and it helps you experience the game, and it will make you better. It's practice. It's a way to play the game, and I've heard people disparage it, like, oh, it's not a real game. It's like, no, it is. It's, to me, it's not necessarily the same as playing on the table. Like, there's a different feel to it, but it definitely helps you.
Yeah, it's an imperfect substitute, but it's the closest you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Without putting butts in seats face to face.
Yeah, when you can't get out and do stuff, it's all you get.
Yeah. And to the second aspect of, honing your own edge, it's often hard for, if you're super experienced, it will often be hard from someone who is brand new to draw lessons from what is an almost inevitable loss. Unless you really help them through the thought process. But if you must play down in order to make the game more valuable for them, there's actually a really good way to make it more valuable for you too, which is self-sabotage at the list level. Play a suboptimal caster, experiment with bizarre configurations on your jacks and beasts. Try out configurations that you've never tried before, field units that, if this was serious time, you wouldn't necessarily consider a ton, and begin to get table time and proficiency with them. Most of them won't pan out to be gold, but you will you will discover valuable new tools that run very much against the metagame from just getting table time with models that don't often see play.
Also, some of those models that don't see play, some of them look really cool. And one of the things we also have in this game is some of our models look really cool. I never play Magnus Invictus, and I got to say, Invictus is a really cool looking model.
Oh,
so
yeah.
A new player might see that and go, I want that model. I want to play with that model. And I played 20 points down on Sunday against a newbie. Didn't tell him. Oh, nice. Back in Mark III, I played 100 points up. I played 2 Colossals up once. Yeah.
Whoa. Two Colossals up is a lot of points up.
Yeah, especially in Mark II.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I still lost, which is the impressive part.
You're up against a Titan Slayer.
Yeah. I think I was up against Snipe Feet Go, and that's what happened.
You had 2 extra 120 mils to hide behind, and you still got.
I got. I wasn't good. I was in a garage. It's all good.
Man.
But what I was going to say, some of those not played models, some of them look really cool. But if you're playing Dusk, I would encourage you to play Cyrafel. Even against a new player, just never feat. That feat is not new player friendly at all.
It is not.
I know it only pushes now, but it's still oh, well, you have to move in this weird sideways direction to not be impacted by it. But just never feat and just play with her. She's, in my opinion, which is why I say this, the weakest Dusk caster. I'm probably wrong. I'm not as experienced as I once was in this game. But I still don't really enjoy. Yeah, feat turn 1 and just say, yeah, you'll never hit it. That would be hilarious.
I mean, you can use that to say, okay, you're really far behind on board position. Now let's play back from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, experimentation is a way. The new player will benefit from fighting off-meta stuff that you're not super familiar with, so it's a way of attenuating the skill gap. Especially if you're playing with suboptimal pieces and suddenly dealing with an ARM 19 heavy is a major logistical challenge for you.
Yeah.
So they'll benefit from the attenuation, and you'll benefit from discovery of new tools like panning for gold.
Oh, these models are FA4, so I'm going to try 4 of them for no reason.
Yeah, why not?
Sure.
I mean, so I used to do this back in Mark II when Morgul 2 was the worst caster in the game, back when his feat was +2 defense and dodge. And his original theme force was just all the blood runners, and it was widely regarded as the worst theme force in the game. And at the time, I had a bunch of newbies coming into my meta in Oakland, and most nights of the week I was playing crappy old Morgul 2, and they got to have a fun, exciting time. I wasn't doing anything that would overawe them. But eventually I discovered that Blood Runners are actually really good, and Morgul has a hyper aggressive play style that works really well. I went to a hardcore tournament with it and did like 4-1 with Morgul 2.
All right. I have to step away for a minute and take some medication. I'll be right back.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, you guys are left with just Cosma for now. So let me see. What is there in the new player experience? I mean, I think one of the other things that I didn't have on my outline but is worth talking about is new players will often thanks, Jay Beatnik. One of the things new players will often have a lot of trepidation about is, sometimes it's about going to the game store and moving out of the garage. And once you're at the game store, sometimes new players will have a lot of trepidation about doing tournaments. And as somebody raising up new players, I would definitely encourage you to take your newbies and get them to participate in tournaments, because they spent however much on models and they're painting and they're taking time out of their week to come down to the game store because they enjoy this game. But it'll often occur for them as this big hurdle, like, oh my gosh, people are going to be, I don't know, mean, or it's going to be cutthroat. And it's like, well, realistically, you're probably going to see the same guys you see every week, plus like maybe 2 or 3 more guys. And if you're enjoying this game, it is a great excuse to get out and have 3 games in a row. Like, the prize money's there as like a little extra juice just to keep people invested. But it's not much. Like prize money doesn't really drive a lot of decisions or ambition in this game.
Yeah, you can't play War Machine professionally and make money. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't think I've made 1 month's paycheck in the 22 years of playing this game and all the prize winnings I've gotten out of it.
Yeah. I mean, at best, you won LVO and got a plane ticket. That was about it.
Right.
But yeah, if you have a newbie coming in and playing, and let's say they show up every game night for a month or two, and to encourage them to go to the local steamroller, you've probably played everyone that's going to be there, and hopefully they're all nice people, or we're kicking that guy out of the group anyway, or you'll never get paired into that person you're not having fun with. But and not to say that will happen, but there used to be kind of, to me, it was almost cliche of Chain Attack kind of made it a cliche statement of everyone I played was amazing. I had so much fun at these events, but it turned out to be really, really true. Like I've made friends for life playing this game. Like when I had my health issues, my phone was blowing up because all these people in the War Machine community found out, and they were all calling to check up on me and see how I was doing. And, it felt good. It's like people care. Like this game that I rolled dice and moved war dollies around, these people care like how I'm actually doing. And it's good. These are good friends. But yeah, the point of that is like, there are some really good people out there. There are people out there that probably aren't the best for their community or whatever, but they are so overshadowed, and they're so overshadowed by the great people that play this game that show up to these events like the steamrollers. And if you travel to play this game, there's so much fun to be had traveling, whether it's to Las Vegas or to New Jersey. Normally I wouldn't tell someone to go to New Jersey to have fun, but you can.
Challenge impossible.
But like going to Beaucourt, having pizza, hanging out with Seth and everyone else, meeting new people, or like even playing in that team event for the first time. Team events are the most fun you can have playing this game, in my opinion. Like there's food machine and everything, and that's a great fun thing to like kind of cheat the system with rerolls and whatnot. But team events, you're like the camaraderie or the almost the my game doesn't necessarily matter and I can still win type of thing. It just adds to it. And for me, coming up originally, that I still remember, like the first time I played, we used to have a team event out here that's coming back soon called the I-5. And we had teams from up and down the I-5 corridor from Canada down to Cosma in San Francisco. And they'd all show up in Portland and we'd do these things. And that was like my very first team event experience that was high competitive. And there was one year, like I think the second year I played, maybe I was playing really well. It's like the first year I was really like competitive with some success, which started that the people I played with said, "Hey, look, stick with one faction. You're changing factions every other week. You just bought Grimkin, play Grimkin and play it for a year. Like, here's a challenge. Play this army for a year." I guess back then it was faction, but play this army for a year and you're going to start getting it down and get those repetitions and start growing your skill with it. And that next year I went and we took second place at the I-5, which was really cool. We beat Cosmos team.
That's true. Yes.
And I tell the story of that game way too often. I'm not going to tell it now. But it was great. That like losing to the Canadians at the top table was fun, mostly because 5 players, but I was the only one that won, which made me feel good because like, hey, I did my job, but I played against a really good player and I won. And that was the first time I could probably say I played against someone, well, maybe Cosmos team as well, but I played against someone who was really, really good and came out on top. It's like beating Brandon Owens now. It's like, oh, you beat Brandon? Wow, it's impressive. What happened? Did he clock himself? No, I'm joking. Brandon's beatable. It's been proven. But yeah,
it's a fight though.
It is.
He's a very precise player, and if you're going to beat him, he's going to make you drag it out of him.
Yeah, that was the one thing, probably the thing I learned most from Brandon is having a mutually accepted game state at all times. Like, I'm going to move here. This model is going to be 12 inches away. So out of threat of this model, do we agree? Or this is what I'm trying to do. Do you agree with this game state? And having that mutual agreement is like everybody involved, whether the judge probably isn't there, but Brandon and myself involved in this game, we both agree that this is the game state, and it makes it, and back and forth, Brandon enjoys having that agreement as well. It makes it so that like all of your decisions there's no gotchas. And to me, coming from Grimkin, better known as the gotcha faction, I really don't like gotchas in this game. So I try and limit them or eliminate them as much as possible. So yeah, it's to me, a clean game state is a happy game state. A closed door is a happy door.
Well, what's interesting, and I think what we've been talking about is like people can get squirrely around their first tournament. First tournament is gateway into, look, there is a whole world out there for competition and just how good it can get. Getting them into first tournament and seeing like, this is something fun. You play this game because you enjoy it. You're going to take a whole day into it. You're going to learn and iterate much faster than you were before. And if we, as the guys bringing up the newbies, are doing our job right, they actually won't notice a difference in environment between their weekly game night and their first tournament. It'll feel true. Exactly like that.
That's a really good point, Causeway. That's great. And to make worldly whatever, my first opponent last year at the WTC, I talk with him, German guy. I talk with him like every week or so on Discord. Like, we have this communication and we're doing like a, across the world jersey trade for WTC next week, which I'm really excited about.
Nice.
I wish I was going, but I have a friend who I consider a friend going, and yeah, you meet people all over the world and roll dice with them, and you come away with a lot of friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, that was very lucky for me. I don't know if I would still be playing if I hadn't done that, because like the Bay Area had a very severe metagame collapse, and like 22 to 23, I think I played over that 2-year span. I think I maybe played 5 games in a game store in the Bay Area. Every other game I played was travel.
I was really discouraged with the game when the shipping issues with Mark IV started up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I got over it, obviously.
Yeah.
And Dusk is amazing. Like
Yeah.
as soon as the shipping issues happened and Winter Core was actually available, I just bought every Winter Core model because I'm crazy and I buy FA. And I never bought the Colossal because why would I? Anyway. And I ended up I still have my Winter Core army. I bought all of Dusk and I bought some Necrofactorium, and obviously I have problems buying models. Well, sorry, I lovingly refer to this as stroke, Jeff. After I had my stroke, Old Umbry came out, or Old Umbry pre-order came out, and so I pre-ordered the character box and a battle box, and I apparently pre-ordered 3 character boxes or 5. I don't remember which. I think it was 5 because obviously you can have 5 of every character, right?
Yeah.
But I used those boxes to bring people who had abandoned this game back into it. People I enjoyed, friends that I really want to see back in this game. Cosmo, James
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
from my local meta, and then DK down from San Francisco, Mr. Kwan. And so I gave them these boxes, like, hey, come back, guys. And now I'm printing a bunch of Cephalix for David.
Oh, nice.
I'm like, but I gave you Old Umbry. Why do you want Cephalix?
Variety is the spice of life.
Yeah.
It's also amusing to me that you somehow created like you've created a meta game that's rotten with Old Umbry. Like,
Yeah.
the Portland crew is going to go anywhere else and be like, oh, this BS. I've seen it before.
And I have a few games of Old Umbry. I'm not really looking forward to grinding my teeth on them, but I'm going to have to.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, Dusk is not ill situated to deal with them.
No, I think Dusk is perfectly situated actually to deal with them. And with the new release next month, which of course I pre-ordered.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I've been looking at those models and I kind of want them to be a little bit different. Someone at least boxes. Yeah. Yeah, like making up sorry, to go off on a tangent from what
It's all good.
I have like 5 3D printers in my garage, so I'm kind of a local 3D printer. So yeah, making up a battle box, whether it's Cephalix or whether it's just the Crix, what was I thinking? The Crix models for that. You can play that kind of as a battle box, sort of, because you have a caster, you have the monstrosity, and then you have the unit in there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. It's having that laying around. I don't know. I found that people tend to positively respond to when you just shove models at them.
It's sell me this pen, and part of it is always putting the pen in their hands and then taking it back.
Yeah.
Except you put the Cephalix in their hands and they leave with it.
Yeah. I have a thing that I never sell models. Like if I bought a model, I'll never sell it because I've sold models in the past and then I'm like, wait a second, a year later, I had that model. Why am I trying to buy it again? Like I sold all my Infernals and then I was like, what if I want to play Infernals? The pen has changed hands. I put all of my old Crix, and I was faction complete. I put all of them but Scar 3 in a box, and I left it at the game store with like, hey, free to a good home, have fun. And well, I think they're all gone by now. There might still be a couple models in there. And some of them have been played. Like I've played against those Crix models. So I don't know. It's good. You actually made this point earlier. It's good to have like a shop army or shop models that people can just kind of pick up and play with.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm hoping to do that. As I got to get more involved in this game store and bringing people up, but that's what I'm hoping to do with my Gravediggers, especially because I'm not familiar with the faction, and because the Gravediggers orthodoxy has been very rapidly settled. It's probably a good thing to screw around with.
Yeah.
Um,
My biggest complaint about Signar right now, well, I'm sure there's a lot of complaints about Signar, but the first draw for me for Signar, and I don't know if this is just where my nerd is or where my fantasy novel nerd is, the
mm-hmm,
idea of Nemo was exciting to me. Like, oh, this old lightning guy, like, what's his story? I want to know more about him.
mm-hmm,
Like, back in Mark II, when I was first getting into the game, that was really, which is funny because I never played Signar, but he was a really interesting character to me. And now he's
mm-hmm.
just basically gone.
Right.
Like, I could care less about Stryker. Zap, zap, zap. Exactly. I like we're just gonna, make lightning crap and zap people with it.
Yeah. So returning to the play of the game, I think there's two avenues that also really help with newer players. Even if you're traveling the circuit, something you probably do after your games is have a post game discussion. Having a breakdown, talking about the choices made and how you each reacted to them. This is a really big growth opportunity, to play the game and then reflect on it immediately, often with many of the pieces still there. Geoff, what do you like to see in a post-game discussion?
Oh, to me, the post game discussion, like at every level, is important, but it has to be consensual. Like, if I feel like I was the veteran helping out a newer player, or
Oh yeah, you never want to give somebody feedback without them being okay
yeah,
with it.
just being like, hey, would you like some feedback? I saw some things you did that, or not even that, like just, hey, do you want to talk about the game and like how it went for you? And yeah, as long as it's like yes, then it's. I've asked for feedback several times, like after playing Corey Doyle or after playing you or Brandon or whomever. Like, hey, can you give me some feedback on this, on like what I could do better next time? And however the game went, like, oh, you didn't manage your threat ranges well enough, or you really threw your caster away there at the end. You should have used cover or whatever. Like I played Aaron Allen on Saturday, and after the game, he's like, "Oh, if you did this move here with Big Pig, if you had just changed it a little bit and done it this way, you would have gotten 2 CPs over there rather than one, and that really puts me in this bind where now I have to like open up and take out your units in order to score up, and you may have actually taken the game just by altering, instead of killing this one guy, coming over here and killing this other guy." And to me, going through stuff like that, like I'm a big person. I grow with strategy. I've talked with you
Mm-hmm.
about this a ton. Like I really want to unlock the strategy in my brain. Like having a plan and executing a plan has been, I wish I could say it's only been hard for me this year, but it's been hard for me for several years. Scenario is a lot of people's biggest weakness, mine as well. And the big thing that I did before to kind of help me with that is I only played for scenario. I didn't care about clock. I never looked at like measuring out an assassination unless it was a feint. Um, I only played scenario, and every turn I would look at the board state and be like, okay, element, element, element. How am I scoring every one of these this turn? And it kind of helped me. I need to start doing it again because,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, scenario is probably the quickest way to win. And assassination, for me, again, which is weird because I try and play assassination lists all the time because I just love winning bottom of one or top of two. And I learned that from Adam Stewart, and I'm sorry. But like almost take assassination off the table in your brain and go, okay, if I do this, like I can threaten assassination, which will force your opponent to do something. And what I learned from you, Cosma, is forcing your opponent to use their resources is almost worth more than anything. Like forcing them to shake, forcing them to make mental decisions, like having to make decisions and having to utilize their focus or their resources, whether that's their models, whatever,
or
you're
their
forcing your
cognitive
opponent to do
resource.
something, and they can make a mistake having to do things.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to put my colossal here. That's going to score me this point, and they have to expend way more resources than they probably want to take that out. And if they do expend all those resources, I have guys on this scenario point, I have guys on this scenario point, which scores me more than they're ever going to make back if they have to commit their forces to take out, your Abyssal King or whatever.
Yeah.
Especially under Boomy's feet.
Oh, sometimes I have gotten to the point where I start subconsciously doing the math. Like if every model in their army untaps and attacks my king, does it live through it? And if the answer is yes, I'm like, okay, that's my win condition. I just have to make that happen.
The fact that you use the term untap means magic actually helps with this game.
It can, yeah. Particularly tempo-based magic, not necessarily the kind of thing you get into in Commander, but like, real fundamentals of combat magic can be useful concepts. Maybe
I'm not good at magic, but it's a resource allocation game, and
so you touched on something which I think is actually pretty crucial in raising up new players. I tend to view assassination in this game as a bit of a blue shell. Like it's mostly a rubber band mechanic. And it's what you go for because you have to roll dice. It's almost always chancy. I have had some no dice assassinations before, which is hilarious. The Quake Hammer on Strikers is maybe a little underrated right now. Assassination is often a blue shell because it's got a lot of chances associated with it, and it's something you generally go for when your odds of winning the game otherwise are worse than making this commit to this very bizarre, hard to come to grips with model profile, that has a bunch of transfers or, effectively after focus shave has like 35 hit points.
But it's really hard to not do that when somebody puts their caster within 16 inches of a Mirage Moraine.
Yeah, that's real hard. That's one of those easy, like, yes, we are doing this.
Yeah, but that's me.
So the thing is, when a new player is playing, they will typically be skill mismatched, unless it's a group of guys picking it up for the first time. Therefore, most of their wins are probably going to come from assassination, or at least their early wins. And people often get habituated to that, to like looking for it, trying to play for it, and it can often bring in bad habits. Like you want to know how to pull off an assassination, and it's where your early career wins are going to come from, but you also want to be building them up to play scenario. And I think if you're having like I suppose this is the next area to move into, is ongoing dialogue over the course of the game, or even ongoing monologue. It's often good to use that to start to teach them how to play scenario. You know what I mean?
Definitely. My early tournament wins, it's funny that you say that. My early tournament wins were almost exclusively trampling a Dire Troll Mauler and then buying attacks into their caster. Like I'd trample through a forest and buy attacks into a caster. And dice are dice, and sometimes it would work.
Mm-hmm. You're Mat 7. You got like 4 unboosted attacks. Let's see if this goes.
Yep. But
Oh
if I
my
hit you, it
God.
might kill you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It worked more often than it. Well, no, it worked probably exactly statistically equal, but it was enough that like I know you know Phil. Up
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
Fox. I killed him a lot with it.
Yeah.
And that was I was playing Trolls when I think it was Phil said you bought Grimkin. You're playing Grimkin for a year. Have fun.
he told you stop it with that.
I think I remember I got into Trolls because I went into Mox one day and I probably had listened to Chain Attack or something. And there is something to be said for that. Podcasts definitely influence new player decisions if they're listening to podcasts, because they'll say like, well, this is good according to podcast XYZ. Like the Australian WTC teams are playing this, so it's obviously good, right? And Chain Attack was actually kind of the worst on that. Like they had their rating episodes and whatnot. Um, and to be fair, sometimes there's accuracy to that, but you still have to, roll dice and move models.
Mhm.
You still have to learn how to play the list or the cast or whatever. But that is one thing to kind of prep new players for, which is, hey, there are a lot of podcasts. There's a lot of information to be had in this game. I actually would recommend against digging too deep into the podcast as you're just starting out, but as I'm talking on one at the moment. But
The irony is palpable.
yeah, I don't know. I've seen people get too deep into the podcast and it informs their judgment so much about this game that it's almost a detriment. Like, no, I have to play this cast or I have to play these models. And it's like, there's other models to be played anyway. So,
Right. Well, and
wrap
also
that
many
up,
of those things
yeah.
may only function at a very high skill floor.
Well, that and like for that meta, like for the Australians, sure, or maybe even for the European meta, yeah, that's a great list, and it's going to play into whomever that they're going to be playing at WTC. It might be a great thing to play, but this local, we're not playing Signar, we're not playing Winter Core. You don't have to deal with this stuff, so the tools that you have are great, but there's one thing in this game, there really are no universal tools that cover every single army. There are good tools that every army can take, but a good example, again, going over to Gravediggers, you have no option for entropic force, which in my opinion is a detriment for that army.
The reality is most armies don't, and it's always funny to talk to Dusk players about what tech they think is meta
I got like
defining.
15
It's like
options.
this exists almost nowhere else.
Yeah. I think that has to be a January update, honestly. I would be surprised if like entropic doesn't get a little more.
I would hope it gets less common, and that's not just me playing Brine Bloods, but it's the prevalence of like of hard off rules, like like hexproof had a similar effect in Magic. Hard off abilities are rarely good game design, and it's something that's very easy to throw out like thematically, like grievous wounds, this guy attacks you viciously, and it's like, yeah, but you printed like so much of this, and you printed so many healing abilities that are just meaningless now.
Yeah, but you have like the Trimerics.
Trichomerics, yeah.
I'm
But
sorry to say this, but you have Boomy's feet and the King.
That's true, but that's only one turn. And I mean, I think the entropic force thing and like wanting more or less of it in the metagame is that the Trichomerax is actually not healthy for the game. And that it's
the auto heal on a Colossal, I feel, isn't great. But
it's warping the metagame around it.
But the point is, like, there's a lot of tools in this game, and every model is a tool or does a thing, and that kind of goes almost back to Mark II, where when you get a good list or when you have a list together, you should be able to say this model's in this list because X, Y, and Z. This model's in this list for X, Y, and Z. And in Mark IV, it's I chose this head or I chose these arms because of X, Y, Z. And last year, I could tell you my Dusk my dusk list and exactly why I took every single item I took on that list. This year, not so much. But I'll get back there sometime.
Yeah. So pivoting back to teaching new players to play scenario or just to play in general, one thing I do, and we've sort of talked around this, is I'll just like, I'm having my inner monologue like when I'm tanking playing a game or whatever. When I'm playing with somebody who's new, like a really important thing is they probably don't yet have the like they're still stumbling over moving models and unpacking and oh, do I boost or how does this work? They've got a lot on their like in their cognitive load that they're dealing with, and their mind may not necessarily be on strategy. It's just getting all their models physically moved. So I have my inner monologue during the game. And what I'll often do when I'm playing with new players is just make the inner monologue outer and describe absolutely everything I'm doing it and why I'm doing it and the reasons I'm doing it. And okay, I'm doing this to position here against a scenario piece, but if they counter position here, it's going to be really bad for me. So I'm going to move this piece here as a contingency for it. And then, I'll finish up my turn and I'll be like, I'll just give them my entire strategic language on my turn, and then I'll say, okay, that's my turn. Here's what I'm worried about you doing to me, and if you want, I can talk to you about what your best options are for playing against this.
Yeah, that's great.
While they're learning the basic mechanics, it's a really good way to like you can lend them your brain while they're still learning basic mechanics so they can actually play the game.
Yeah,
And even if you're not giving them strategic advice, just like the monkey see, monkey do of them getting to see your entire process laid out, that's probably going to get their noggin jogging too.
yeah, the understanding, like, I don't know, maybe this is just for me for a little while, like understanding how much we think about, or sorry, how much you think about threat ranges and what that plays into your movement. Um, like asking, like, what is your threat range is like if you listen to an SR, it's probably happening at every table several times a turn. Just understanding where you can be without getting steamrolled um, is kind of important. So I don't know, like you said, talking out your turn, talking out your strategic options, or that's wonderful. Like that's kind of what I've asked of you, like several times over the years. Like I want your strategic brain. I respect your strategic brain. So I want to extract as much as I possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
I'll have to do more of that the next time we play then, just see how it goes and if it's useful.
Yeah, having that learning game at, I mean, there's learning games at the newbie level and there's there's learning games at the experience level. And like I was saying earlier, it's kind of a different interaction, but
Mm-hmm.
I grow so much from that. Like having a game versus JVM last year was great for me, and to ignore all of the advice he gave me. But I did learn a lot of how to play into Chimera from him.
Mm-hmm.
I just ignored it for my next game. Thankfully, that wasn't an actual like game. It was just the game against Canada.
Oh, right.
Anyway, sorry, I'm going to go off on stories randomly.
It's all good. It's all
That's
good.
how my brain works right now.
The story time's a great illustrator, I think, of these principles at work, and like that
Well, and it's imprinted me so hard, like being around you guys and having fun, like in the house last year and all the interactions I had. They were so impressed, or they so impressed upon me that even after having a stroke and having some brain issues, they're still like it's still right there in my mind. Like it was so impressed on me that it still is. Like I had so much fun hanging out and playing games and talking War Machine, and those are the things I missed the most, being on my butt for 9 months. those drives, the 5 hour drive up to Bellevue or whatever with whomever local, and having those conversations of like, oh well, here's what's going on in the game, and here's what I'm excited about, and here's my concerns going into this event, and here it always turns into like, well, if you play me, I'm going to do this. Well, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and it makes for kind of a fun back and forth. But then I've had before when I get to an event with the person I'm riding with, and we end up in the finals or we end up in whatever, and it's like, well, you already know which caster I'm playing. I already know what caster you're playing. Let's do this and see what actually happens.
Right.
It makes for a really interesting game, and like when you both know each other's strategies and what they're playing into, it turns into a really good game. And I don't know where to go from that. Like most of the time I've come out, no, I can't say most of the time. It's been kind of 50-50 whether or not I can win that game, because again, playing Grimkin for so long, you know my tricks, and that was the way to, I guess even now, that's the way to play into Grimkin, is understand their tricks and know when and how they're going to utilize them. I mean, Mark II Grimkin was a different beast completely, but understanding sacrifice even modernly, and understanding like how sacrifice can be used against you, or Labyrinth, for instance, is key to understanding how you're going to win that game.
Right. Yeah. And first games, a lot of pre-discussion definitely helps. But first games are very different from, nth games.
Yeah.
Because I've had this against Brandon, because I've had to face him a bunch of times this year.
Yep.
And just sussing out where the games really go, the more mental energy we put into it and the more variations we put into it. And that's also immensely rewarding. I can also imagine back to like, when you're a new player and the local game store is your entire gaming universe right now, right? And there's the top dog at your shop, like the best local player.
Always is.
And you play against them a bunch. Like we as human beings tend to prioritize novelty very highly, but actually a lot of the learning really happens in those nth games, where, okay, I'm not going to get bowled over the same way I did last time. Okay, I'm not going to get bowled over these 2 ways. I'm not going to get bowled over these 3 ways. And eventually, like, you wind up giving them a real fight at some point,
Eventually, you learn how to play against Circle.
Huh?
And eventually you learn how to play against Circle.
Years later. Yeah. But this also happens, like, it really is amazing to me, and sort of why the why matters here is, what we're talking about, like what we want to enculturate new players into, and have everybody enculturate new players into, is the way our community works from the top, ideally all the way to the bottom. Like it's the kind of culture we've been in for a long time, and it's the kind of culture we want to share with people and keep going. I was at when I first went to Irish Masters, my round 1 opponent was playing Doom Shaper Runes of War. I was playing Rasheth Chain Gang. We definitely had an nth game thing where he's like, this is my second time playing this matchup. And I'm like, factoring in local tournaments, because we had multiple Runes of War players in my meta, and like how many times I played my buddies. I'm like, this is my 200th time playing this matchup.
There's so much to that. There's so much to that. Whether it's just your experience playing into that matchup, or you have a local who just plays it well. Hello, Kitty. But plays it a little bit differently. Like, I had a local that played Rhett, and he was really good at the game, and he played the all I can think of the name is the Dawn Mower.
The Tridents.
Yeah, the Dawnguard Tridents. And back in Mark III, those were quite the thing. But he played it different than I ran different than I saw in any other meta. So I had this mindset that this is how I need to play to take that thing out. And because he played it so differently in his positioning and whatnot, it changed the way I played into future opponents, not in my meta. And because I changed the way I played into it, it actually became a benefit because I was able to take it out quicker. I knew how to prioritize and position myself for what I guess was its optimal output, whereas these people were used to playing it in a different way. I don't know. You learn so much from your local meta, or you can, depending on how competitive and how active your local meta is. I mean, competitiveness isn't everything, but it does help. It helps grow everyone. Although sometimes you run into, like at my old shop where I was playing the Runen board, you go to game night, and back then we had like 7 Grimkin players show up every game night. It's like I got good at the mirror, but yeah. That's one thing. Like, I don't know if this is necessarily for new players or not, but the mirror matches, they're shunned by a lot of players. And I don't know why, but I love playing into a mirror match, probably because they're shunned so much that my opponents usually don't have a lot of experience into them. And I've played them so many times. Like, again, last year when we were going to WTC, I was so experienced in the mirror match, I knew exactly what to play, exactly how to play it, and I won my mirror game. I think I only ran into the mirror once, but it was against a very accomplished player, and I was able to win that one. And again, like if I play a Dusk mirror, I'm not as experienced right now, so I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm going to bring this back to new players. They've played their army X number of times when they play into you, that they have knowledge of their army, therefore they have knowledge of your army, and they may think of something, like think of a weakness you might have, so they get to try that into you. But I think that does actually help them enforce their own knowledge of how your army may play. Or you might do something that they've never seen before and be like, oh, that's a really cool move, or I didn't realize that caster can do that. I guess I'm going to try him out next time. Like, I learned how to play into the Dusk mirror actually because a player up at Mox, we decided to do the mirror, and I played Cyrafel and he played Moraine, and it just showed me how powerful Moraine was into Cyrafel during last year. This year, I don't know.
Right.
But it was like, oh, okay, I didn't consider that, and I'm dumb for not considering that, and so I'm going to now test this out the way you did it into me. It's I think it grows your own knowledge, and when you play it, just repetition, almost double repetition.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the things, and this will probably transfer, I think, into the don't do. Psychologically, I think people actually get a bit squirrely about what do you call it? Ego, I guess. Like the mirror match, like your animal brain is not thrilled with the mirror match, because of ego and because of like reputation loss or whatever. Like after a while playing this game, it's a game. Like and also to a certain extent to succeed at a high level, like you really do need to transcend the ego thing, but that's a conversation for another time.
That's learning how to lose, learning how to win. Learning how to lose especially is rough. I used to take it as a hit to my ego when I lost a single model.
Right.
It took me a while to learn how to play this game without an ego. And I have it, but nowhere near where I used to. Like when I played 40K and I played it against my buddies, it was all ego based. And I cared so much about winning and losing that there was no option there.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's one of the things that this culture really helps with, is because we are, like creating the space where, you share advice with people, you're really trying to build them up. It's much easier for that to disappear much more quickly. But it still shows up in this is one possible motivation. It still shows up sometimes.
Yeah.
Or I think people assume mirror matches are going to be really even or like just a blank or something like that. Not true. There are some factions that like the Haley 2 matchup back in the day was not an even matchup.
To be fair, you deserve each other.
that matchup was great for both sides, which would mean battle would be joined on turn 2, and by the end of round 3, both armies would be liquefied down to a handful of surviving models battling over scenario. Like those armies obliterate each other instantly on contact.
Yeah. Haley 2 and Mark 2 was, or even, well, Mark 3 was not as brutal.
Yeah. Well, even what you discussed, like Moraine versus Cyrafel, or even Moraine versus Moraine, there's subtle layers that start to show up, even when you're playing the same caster or similar armies.
But like I played Moraine into Brandon's Moraine, and like I learned a lot from him. I learned like, oh, that's a movement I can do. I try and take a lot from like whether it's Brent Simon pulling in like, this is how to have that pregame discussion in a way that made me feel good. Like I took that and I was able to show it to someone else. Like learning from someone else's play, be like, okay, you did this and that was really cool. Now I can mirror that out and kind of take advantage of other people in that same situation.
Yeah. So let's transition over what to not do when raising up new players, because just as much like if you put good things in, you'll get good things out. If you put bad things in, you'll get bad things out.
Don't rage quit.
Yeah, what's your top don't do into a new player to inculturate them into this game?
Honestly, with me, it's almost the rage quit thing. Is I mean, don't take any of it personally. Don't have an ego. I don't know. It's
like modeling good sportsmanship. Don't model bad sportsmanship.
Exactly. Like I know that before or whatever, I know I can get upset pretty quick about various things. And usually it's getting upset at myself or getting upset at dice. And if I'm playing a new player in like a steamroller, again, it doesn't necessarily matter. So I needed to learn how to shut that off and not get mad at my dice, which, I mean, yeah, be the player you wanted to be. Yeah, exactly. Be the player that you wanted to play against when you were new. And that's almost the core of what Cosma and I were talking about just a couple of days ago. Like, I want that learning game and I want that growth. Like every player can have growth, whether it's just becoming a better player or learning how to become a better player. And that would be the best. Like, don't do things that are going to hurt that. Like, don't do things that are going to chase this player away. Don't be such a jerk about movement or whatever that will shun this player and push them out the door. We want these people to come back. So anything you do that doesn't make that happen is bad. And I'm sure I'm a victim of, or not a victim, sorry. I'm sure I've done these things. So I'm not trying to say I'm perfect in any way. But coming back to the game the way I am right now, I want that positive experience. I want and almost desire that growth. The friendships that I've made, I want to nourish that, like whether it's locals or whatever. Like I'd love to go to Lock and Load this year, but I can't go for various reasons. But I don't know. As a new player, when I was coming up in the game, I lived around Seattle. So my press ganger was like, hey, there's this thing called Lock and Load. It's the convention for this game, and it's in Bellevue, which is like an hour or so from my house. So you're going to go, right? I guess I have to. And it was fun. I had a lot of fun doing that. But going out to the conventions, whether that's PAX Unplugged or there's some on the East Coast I can't think of, and I'm awful for that Tried and True do.
Nova Open.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good conventions that are War Machine centric. LVO, or not War Machine centric, but LVO has been one of my favorite cons to go to.
LVO is a great time.
Yeah, it's always. I mean, I enjoy Las Vegas. Probably not as much as I used to. Like, I don't really drink or gamble anymore, but going down there and going out to dinner with everyone,
yeah,
is just fun.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. The companionship and camaraderie is a big deal. Las Vegas also has just some phenomenal food.
Yeah, and when you have David Kwan with you, you always find the best food.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God, I'm so glad he's going to be back on the circuit this coming
Right?
year. Like
Yeah.
you should have seen the desperation in mine and Brandon's eyes. Like, oh crap, we have to plan dinner tonight.
Oh man. Yeah, there's a lot of fun to be had out there, and doing what I can to express that to a new player. Like, like my story about the German guy I played last year. Like, I went to Germany and made a friend rolling dice. These things can happen. And if you work hard at this game, if you practice, if you grind, it's not always fun grinding games. It's just like, playing Diablo. Like, sometimes you're just grinding to grind. Or I guess Destiny 2 would be a better example there. But it won't make you as mad as Destiny 2, I promise. But grinding games against people you enjoy, like the amount of games I played against Jake last year, just trying to learn how to beat Infernals, I always have fun games against him. The most memorable one for me is I got Torment onto Zadaroth.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And on my very last shot, I think with a sniper, I killed Zadaroth. And Jake was like excited, shocked, whatever, so much that he fell out of his chair. And we both enjoyed the game, even though he fell on cement at the end of it. That wasn't quite as fun, but shot him out of his chair. I don't know. There's so much fun to be had, and if you can express that fun, like if I'm playing my buddy at a local game night, if I'm playing Jake or JC or various other people that show up, if I'm doing that on a local game night and we're having fun and we're being friends and whatnot, like that's going to show like what we want to foster in this community,
right?
And hopefully that entices other players to be like, hey, those models look cool. The terrain probably doesn't look as cool as it could, but mousepad terrain, that is actually my biggest complaint. I like the big 3D terrain. I don't necessarily like playing with it, but I like the idea of it. Painted models are becoming more important because if you want to go to these big events, you need painted models. And honestly, it does bring players in. Just because it shows off how cool these models can be. Not that these are painted, but this is a really cool model. Like if you see these guys on the table, they're really cool. Durka, 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 durka.
That's the new drudges whose name is eluding me.
Big drudgy boys. They're really cool models, and with a good paint job, not gray, it'll look really neat, and it can entice players into this game. Like, I really like the look of that model. I just want to buy it to paint it, which is why I bought a box of 40K. Like, I like these models. I'm going to buy them and put them together and paint them. All that aside, like the whole point is to have fun. I was told recently, if I'm not having fun playing a game, I'm doing it wrong. And there's honestly a lot of truth in there. If I'm upset after a game, or size of the Iron Class up to a Colossus, yes. Yeah. If I come away from a game upset, that hasn't happened. Well, before recently, that hasn't happened in years. Like I've had fun. I used to go to game night and come away from that so filled up with energy. Like, these are my people. This is what I needed in my life. And there have been a few times where that hasn't happened. And that's sad to me. Like, we're rebuilding the community here. and
Mhm.
it's going to be good. But I need to work on what I need and whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting to talk it out, and I think one thing you have, like whether it's rusty or new on any given day is like even when you're feeling new, you have knowledge of where the process goes. And I think one big thing with the don't do's is actually um a misassessment or a misweighting of values. Like we talked about, you know, uh, the rules describe you and the other player as opponents, but the correct relationship to the game in order to have a great game is you and your opponent are partners.
Yeah.
And I think and the ego thing, it's very easy for people to get like wrapped up in that and like like trying to dunk on newbies deliberately or something,
Yeah.
like it bigs you up, is like socially it only makes you look bad.
Yeah. It makes players not necessarily want you around.
Right. But
If you're losing new players because someone's being a jerk, um, the jerky guy needs to be talked to.
Yeah, that might be. We've got a couple of minutes left. Yeah, how would you intervene with somebody who's not showing new players the best of what this game can be?
That's a hard one because as a natural nerd, I'm not necessarily great with confrontation. I would like to say like smack him on the head and be like, "What the hell are you doing?" But that's not me. I'm not going to do that.
Mhm,
You almost need a community leader,
mhm.
press ganger, if you will, to be like, "Hey, saw you doing this. What's going on? Um, we can't be doing that if we want the game to grow, and we all want the game to grow, right? Like
Mhm.
we all want War Machine to be where it was in Mark II. Yeah,
What is
yeah,
it?
exactly. Um,
Like quartermasters and bosuns used to have essentially like a beating stick on board like maritime vessels. Instead of t-shirts, that's what Steamforge games should be giving out to their press gang.
yeah, Nick, you're right. You're right on. Um, Giving people coaching only works when
Mhm.
they are open to accepting it.
Yes.
Uh,
And you do have to approach it in the attitude like from your side that they're your partner. Like it can't land for them like you're their enemy.
yeah, it's a rough conversation that not everyone wants to have. For me, coming back into the game and whatnot, my frustrations and what I'm doing on the table, and almost stem from like my brain being a little bit slower than it used to be. Like I can't just do the dice math anymore. I can't
Mhm.
assess a table and be like, this needs to happen, this needs to happen. And that's really that that brings the negative thoughts in, and I'm frustrated with myself, which brings negativity to the table. And I mean, personally, that's just trying to get into that. That's what I need to work on to be a better play experience for new players or even current players that are going to game night to have a good time, which is
Mhm.
what I used to be.
Yeah. All right. Well, any closing thoughts on raising up the newbies?
California raisins. I don't know. I'm just random.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, no real closing thoughts. Just do what you can. Be a good person.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we've given lots of stuff here. Chat, anybody watching in the future, if you come back to this stuff, drop a comment on this video or something. I'll be keeping my eye out to, to look for what to add to this curriculum of how to bring new players into this game. Really, really would appreciate that.
Um, we were asked to get a poll on one thing, if you remember. Sorry,
A poll?
about the spell rack.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another one. Let us know if you think the spell rack is sticking around, or if, like me, you believe that removing it would involve like catastrophically destroying multiple factions, and it would need to be the biggest rules update ever to make them function again.
Um, that last comment, I mean, plays right into what we were talking about.
Mm.
It's a rough one because, like, when I tried to play Crix into you, I kept forgetting like my movement speed. I kept forgetting all my.
Oh yeah.
It's really frustrating as the player. Um, it's what I had to do personally was I had to switch to a faction that I remembered, but that might not be the case here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, really, the only thing you can do is exactly what you are doing, helping them out. Um,
Know their stuff stone cold. That helps. And then, I think one of the first things I mentioned in dues is correct and correct gently.
yeah.
Um, this is, I guess, a rule zero for enculturating new players. Tell them at some point to actually read the rule book.
That's 99% of judge calls.
Yeah. What does the card say? What does the book say?
One thing I'll point out is the rules historically are very lawyery and very, very clear and concise. And
Yeah.
they're not always, I won't say that, but getting someone to read and understand and accept, like understanding the game that's almost this is what the rules actually mean. Quiz them on the rules. Yeah. I mean that wouldn't be bad if they're open to it, honestly.
Yeah. No, yeah. Just snap across the room like, hey Bobby, how do power attack throws work?
Yeah. And why can you do it with a freaking Kador medium base?
Oh, these mana wars are big boys. Something most people don't know is I think there's only a handful of warrior models with open fist. I haven't checked in a long time, but when I last checked, the only other one that had an open fist was Bosun Grogspar in Talion Charter. That guy can throw.
Yeah, they don't make the rules in multiple languages like MCP or Star Wars Shatterpoint, which
Oh yeah, that is a big obstacle.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember there were translation efforts way back in the day. I don't know whatever happened to those.
Yeah. That's got to be rough because like understanding the English and then it gets deep into pedantic land and
Yes. Yes, there are like philosophies of language and how your linguistic structure informs relational meaning and subtext and stuff that I won't attempt to deal with.
that's rough. I don't envy you, but yeah.
Maybe we could translate the rules to Latin and then switch the official language of the WTC to Latin like it's the 12th century.
No, thank
you. All right. We're going to wrap it up there, folks. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Geoff, thanks for being on with me. This was a great discussion. Keith, thanks for all your help behind the scenes. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye now.